All my life I've had incontinence. I was real ashamed of it. I didn't even talk to my own mother about it. I was very self-conscious. I kept up with my hygiene the best I could because I was afraid that I would smell like urine no matter how clean I kept myself. Not only do I suffer from incontinence, so does my 26-year-old daughter.
I've been dealing with incontinence since I've been age 15. Always feeling like I had to go to the bathroom but couldn't go to the bathrooms. Leaking was the biggest problem that I dealt with. I mean, I didn't tell anyone about, my problem. I think my incontinence held me back mostly, I would say, dating. Worrying about odor, worrying about having an accident.
On top of the incontinence, I also was diagnosed with a chronic, painful, incurable bladder disease. I was so miserable, the pain was unbearable, and I lived with it for 9 years.
We tried conservative therapy and medication, and that didn't work. Luckily, she finally met Dr. Peters at Beaumont Hospital. Dr. Peters was able to help my mom, so then it was my turn. Hopefully he could help me as well.
Both Jennifer and Linda had incontinence, but I believe Jennifer's was worse. If somebody has overactive bladder, the signals to those nerves are wrong, and suddenly they have to urinate even though they're not prepared to. Overriding the abnormal signals, it's a fantastic way in a minimally invasive fashion to improve patient symptoms. We're actually putting a pacemaker in for her bladder. Our first step in that is just to place a wire by the nerves that control the bladder. So this is the easier part of the surgery now, which is just putting the pacemaker device in. There's just a tiny little incision here. She's under a little sedation. This is our permanent lead, but it actually enters into the tailbone area, which controls bladder and bowel function. So what we're doing now is make a pocket underneath the skin, and we put it above the gluteus muscle as deep as we can so that the patient really doesn't feel that pacemaker. So this is the InterStim 2 device. It looks like a cardiac pacemaker. This just goes back into that pocket we had just created. You don't even know it's there. So once the programming is done, let's just closing the skin here. The nice thing about InterStim is you can set it and forget it. You just put it away and you live your life. I was very just pleased how everything went.
Jennifer and Linda join us today, and first things first, since this surgery for the two of you, how has life changed?
I have a life.
And Jennifer?
I would say just everything has. The first day I had the trial in, I didn't have anything.
So the
it's gone.
The day after everything has changed. So you don't have to wear incontinence garments. You don't have to wear any pads. Everything is, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and we just talked about how many millions of people are affected by this. I want to bring on board their doctor and surgeon, Dr. Kenneth Peters. You really view this procedure as a significant option for a lot of people out there suffering with incontinence.
To me, it's an amazing procedure. It's something, one of my favorite things to do in my practice because it all works at the level of the brain. I mean, if you had a complete spinal cord injury, it's not going to help. But if you imagine that everything runs on nerves, there's abnormal signals going on. This is sending the signal the nerve needs so that the brain can process it appropriately, that then it lets the bladder, and it's approved for fecal incontinence too, for bowel too, that it can help with both.
Clearly, you have two big-time believers here.
Yes.
Dr. Peters,
Yes.
Thank you for sharing it. Hey, I'm Dr. Travis Stork. Press here to subscribe to the doctor's YouTube channel and press here to help reduce tension.